Summary of the character Ken in the Barbie movie. Hi folks, how are you doing? Welcome to a new video. Just a few years ago, the COVID-19 virus managed to dampen people's enthusiasm for going to the cinema. Going to the movies had become a cherished wish for us, but this wish became so prolonged that it no longer held the same appeal. The excitement and joy of people going to see a movie were fading until Barbie herself introduced us to something new. Our discussion in this video will focus on one of these two movies and one of its characters, Ken, the beloved, likable, and mysterious doll. The target audience for Barbie dolls has always been young girls, and this fact spelled misfortune for Ken from the start. Ken in the real world is the best second and is supposed to remain the best second forever. Being the second is something men are not accustomed to, and the Barbie movie effectively depicts this in Ken's character. The film revolves around Barbie's life, a doll created to be happy, but she's no longer happy. Feeling of sadness and sorrow like a stormy wave ruin her life, and Barbie is forced to enter the real world and seek a solution to this problem. Now the world of Barbie is left without Barbie, and it's time for Ken to start his own self-display. By placing Ken in opposition to Barbie, the film tried to challenge the rules of the Barbie world for the first time. Ken many times in the movie attempts to assert himself against Barbie, with the most prominent being the surfing scene. Ken's initial attempt to showcase his abilities to Barbie results in failure, and he faces defeat in front of all the Barbies and Kens. In the first 30 minutes of the film, Ken fails to capture Barbie's attention, leading him to sneak into Barbie's car and enter the real world. Now the two beloved dolls have come face to face with real world and are bound to distance themselves from their colorful and sweet world. Barbie, after seeing men's behavior in the real world, becomes pessimistic about them, but Ken is attracted to that behavior and uses it to change his own personality. Ken was not a bad person from the beginning, but today's world influences him and turns him into a doll, a gendered human being. All the Barbies in their world will become slaves, and Ken introduces himself as the king there. Now Ken has become a symbol of today's male-dominated world. It doesn't matter how much you agree with the Barbie movie in this regard. In any case, we must admit that Ken's character has effectively spoken in the film and has easily shown us the hardship of a male-dominated world. Ryan Gosling's performance in the role of Ken is commendable. Ken is initially a plastic doll that does not express any special emotions. But over time and after entering the real world, he begins to change. In the second half of the film, we see more emotions of Ken's face, and his movements become more human-like than before. The peak of Ken's emotions is seen in his song, and in that scene we can understand his inner truth. Ken is not a bad-mannered man. He's not a dictator trying to dominate the world. Ken is just seeking attention from Barbie, but his observations of the real world lead him to make misconceptions about these issues. Barbie decides to try to restore the world to normality after observing Ken's behavior, and these efforts lead to significant discoveries, but Ken has not yet achieved his goals. Let's go back to the opening scene of the movie. The film, with a reference of Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, decides to make Barbie's doll a destroyer of previous dolls. However, they are not just the previous dolls that are destroyed. Ken, whose existence is supposed to be known as a result of Barbie's production, is also destroyed by Barbie. Feminist remarks in the film are not only reflected in Barbie's character, but are also demonstrated in Ken's existence. In the world of Barbies, it is the men who have been oppressed and cannot be the main characters of their own stories. By seeing Ken's character, viewers will understand the general principles of the feminist movement, realizing that being the second is always a bad feeling. Which doll or human could better illustrate the pain of today's world for us and sing about it? Only Ken. But what sets Ken apart from the other Kens? If the film did not provide the right answer to this question, we would not enjoy watching it and could not understand its subtleties and attractions properly. Let's go back to the beginning of the film when the Kens talk to each other and he talks about his feelings with others. In the early stages of our story, we notice his differences from the other dolls and understand that his love for Barbie has subtle differences from the love of other Kens. The other Kens succeed in easily obtaining their own Barbies, but Ken has to make more efforts to reach his Barbie. These efforts turn into inner complexes, and these inner complexes turn Ken into a dictator at the end of the story. A dictator trying to stifle his inner love by changing the world and ignoring all the Barbies. Fortunately, Barbie and Ken's lives continue well at the end of the film. Barbies realize the difference between their colorful world and the real world, and Kens understand that they should not be fooled by the seemingly equal world outside. Now it's time to watch the movie again and feel sorry for the deceived dictator and poor movie burn. I would appreciate it if you could support our channel and give us joy with your likes and subscriptions. If you have any suggestions about other videos, you can let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching us. See you soon.